gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, thank you for joining us tonight. I'm your host, Brandon Haggany.
And I'm Channing Martin. Welcome to NSEN Sports.
Breaking news, Tiger Woods actually won a golf tournament. Former number one in the world, Tiger Woods regains his place on top of the PGA World for the week. Woods won the Arnold Palmer Invitational Sunday by 5 strokes. It was his first win since November of 2009. It was Woods' first official PGA Tour win since September 2009. This was the last warm-up event for the upcoming Masters, where Woods has walked away with the green jacket 4 times.
The MTSU women's tennis team is currently on a 5-match win streak. MTSU's women faced Austin Peay and Western Kentucky and beat both those teams by a combined 13 wins and 1 loss. Austin Peay's star singles player won it in straight sets. Our women beat Western Kentucky 7-love, securing their 11th straight women over the Lady Hilltoppers. The Lady Raiders swept all but one of the 4 singles matches and swept all of the doubles matches. The Lady Raiders will travel to Arkansas March 30th through 31st to play Arkansas State and Arkansas Little Rock.
Well, Channing, it's actually getting a little hot in here, which means it must be time for Chris Burnett
It must be.
in this week's Hot Seat.
Welcome to the Hot Seat. I'm your host, Chris Burnett. In today's segment, I sat down with MTSU Blue Raider defensive tackle Jimmy Staten to discuss focuses of the offseason, the grind of spring practice, and goals both he and the rest of the program have heading into the 2012 campaign. We're sitting down today with Jimmy Staten, defensive tackle for the Blue Raider football team. Jimmy, thanks for being with us today.
Hey, no problem.
Appreciate you coming in, man. I want to start off today talking a little bit about last season, the way things finished. I know the wins and losses were not exactly something you guys were looking for, and I understand that. Let's talk about some areas that you think coming out of the season you guys need to work on heading into the offseason, heading into spring practice. What are some things you guys need to do?
I think we need to work getting faster, defense especially getting faster, being set when the ball's ready to play. Basically just coming together as a team, playing with unity. I don't feel like we had that last year, and this year I think we'll do a much better job.
Mm-hmm. Now, on the contrary here, let's talk about some things that you thought you guys did well, something that you think you guys could have built or can build on coming into the offseason.
Well, we got a good number of turnovers last year. I think we need to build on that. That needs to be our main focus because as a defense, we need to get turnovers, get the ball back to the offense, so they can, go in there and score.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Talk a little bit about the workouts that you guys went through in the weight room and another conditioning on the field.
Well, as a lot of people know, we have Coach Spray as our new weightlifting coach, and he's really working us in there. None of the workouts you don't come out in full sweat.
Mm-hmm. So they went pretty
a
well,
great job.
pretty
Yeah.
intense.
Yeah.
Talk about some of the conditioning you guys are doing out on the field.
Usually we'll get together as a group, like a D-line group or DB skill players. We'll get out, go do some drills, run through some bag drills. Just something to keep us, fit, keeps us fast.
Absolutely. Now coming out of the weight room into the conditioning, as we know, there's 3 weeks of what's called mat drills.
Right.
Some people at home are not going to understand exactly what that is. Describe to us what the mat drill experience is like for a college football player.
Mat drills, getting up 4:45 in the morning, got to be there at 5:30, and then they run you through a rigorous workout. But it makes you better. You have to call your teammates, make sure they're accountable, make sure they're awake, because you don't want to go through another day of it right after the day you did it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
What are some areas that your defensive coordinator, defensive tackles coach, defensive line coach, what are some areas that your coaches are looking for you to improve on as a defense?
he wants to see us do better from an effort standpoint, getting to the ball, even when you may not be able to make the play. Make sure you get to the ball, because anything can happen.
What are some drills that you're working on right now during individuals in order to get you where you want to be? Talk about some of the specific drills that you do so that people at home understand what it is you're going through every day.
You get up on this thing called a pin, about yeah, something like that. It helps us stay low, and you need to stay low when you're coming off a ball against an offensive lineman.
Absolutely.
And our offensive linemen now are in a 3-point stance, what makes it, easier for them to get up under us if we don't stay low. And me being tall,
Mm-hmm. You got to get down and get low, right?
Right, have to stay
I
low.
understand that because I'm sure a lot of teams you face, offensive linemen are going to be more in a 2-point stance. So actually, that'll benefit you with the offensive line being in a 3-point stance and you working on getting lower quicker off the ball.
Right, because a lot of teams in the Sun Belt don't use a 3-point stance.
Mm-hmm.
The lower we are, the better we are against them.
And talk to us about the energy level and the competition level that's going on right now on the field.
The energy level, everybody is just ready, hyped up. Like I said, with the new strength coach, he's getting us very ready for this next season. So everybody's ready to get out there, show off what they've learned,
Yep.
And
What are some things that you will do and your defensive line will do to get ready for the season? Because you're going to have to be out there by yourself.
right,
Tell us about it.
like that comes back to team unity. We got to be accountable for each other, even though the coach is out there. We got to get up. Me being a leader, I got to get up, call the plays. We're going to be here this time. We're going to go over these drills. And it's like we go out there, we do some bag drills, some get-offs, make sure we're ready for the offensive line. When we get out there and go against them also. Not to the point where, we'll be in full pads.
Right. Well, we'd like to wish you the best of luck this coming season. I know that you guys are going to work hard in spring practice. Wish you the best of luck in your spring game going into the summer. Stay healthy. Don't get injured out there. I know we're going to need you guys, especially you out there. We're looking forward to you being a leader and being on the field. I'd like to thank you for being with us today, and we appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Man.
Absolutely, man. Thank you. Best of luck to you.
Thank you.
I want to thank Jimmy once again for taking the time to speak with me. I wish both him and the rest of the Blue Raider football program the best of luck as they finish spring and head into summer workouts before gearing up for fall camp. I'm Chris Burnett. Now back to you guys.
Thanks, Chris. For some people, the word fantasy means live-action role play and Dungeons & Dragons. But for us here at NSEN, it means our resident Ron Burgundy doppelganger, Jordan Powell.
The Peyton Manning watch is over. Now that Manning is signed with Denver, Broncos wide receiver Demaryius Thomas will likely become a top 10 fantasy option this year. Another newly signed Bronco that will make waves in fantasy football is former Colts tight end Jacob Tamme. Manning and Tamme connected for 631 yards and 4 touchdowns in 2010 with Dallas Clark on injury reserve. Manning and Tamme should both have a very high fantasy stock on the same offense. The New England Patriots signed wide receiver Brandon Lloyd to address their lack of a vertical air attack. Tom Brady hasn't had a receiver with Lloyd's ability to stretch the field since Randy Moss. Another team that has added a first-class wide receiver is the Chicago Bears. The Bears recently traded for Brandon Marshall, reuniting quarterback Jay Cutler with his former Bronco teammate. Thomas, Tamme, Lloyd, and Marshall's fantasy value should go up substantially from last season. Make sure you draft these players this fall, because I think they're going to blow up this season. Stay classy, Murfreesboro. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Chris. We got to pay some bills here at NSEN, so we'll be right back after these messages. After being spurned by Peyton Manning, the Tennessee Titans are moving quickly to begin filling their biggest needs. The Titans agreed to a 5-year, $35 million deal last week with former Oakland Raiders defensive end Cameron Wembley. The deal guarantees him $13.5 million, with $11.5 million of that coming in the first year alone. The 28-year-old Wembley tallied 16 sacks over the course of the last 2 seasons in Oakland. His signing should help boost the Titans' sack total, which was 31st in the league last season at just 28. ProFootballTalk.com had Wembley listed as the 5th best free agent in this year's class.
Ohio State had too much Sullinger power for the Big Orange to handle as they advanced to the Final Four. Ohio State defeated Syracuse 77-70 Saturday night in Boston, despite playing in front of a mostly Big Orange crowd in Boston. Despite missing most of the first half due to foul trouble, Jared Sullinger scored 19 points and grabbed 17 rebounds to lead the Buckeye charge. Syracuse's experienced talent and depth couldn't handle the power of Ohio State's bigs down the stretch without the presence of Fab Melo. The Buckeyes await the Kansas Jayhawks in a premier Final Four matchup next Saturday night in New Orleans.
A stunning loss for the United States men's under-23 national soccer team now has their Olympic dreams in peril. The Americans were shocked by Canada 2-0 on Saturday at LP Field in Nashville in the CONCACAF Men's Olympic Qualifying Tournament. Donnell Henry and Lucas Cavallini each scored goals for Canada, who beat the United States for the first time since 1992. The U.S. had a seemingly easy road to the Olympics after a 6-0 drubbing of Cuba last Tuesday. Now they must defeat El Salvador on Tuesday to advance to the semifinals of the tournament, where the winners will then qualify for the Olympics.
Chipper Jones is going to call it quits after this season and sit back and wait for a call from Cooperstown. The legendary third baseman will start his 19th and final season on the disabled list, but hopes to return sometime in late April. Jones is considered one of the best switch hitters of all time and has undoubtedly earned a trip to the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. Jones is a career .304 hitter with 454 home runs and has driven in 1,561 career runs. He's led the Braves to 14 division titles, 5 World Series appearances, and 1 World Series title. The man dominated the Mets so many times, he named his daughter Shay after their old ballpark. His run has been appreciated by many Braves fans all around the nation, but especially to fans like myself from Atlanta. We'll miss you, Chipper. Thanks for everything. How about one more All-Star year for old time's sake?
We got to take a break, but don't go anywhere. NSEN will be back with more flavor in your ear right after this.
Let's jump into the top 5 plays of the Blue Raider basketball season. Way back in November, during Middle's signature win of UCLA, JT Sultan recovers Marcos Knight's miss and emphatically throws it down. Same game, different baller. Instead here, Marcos finishes at the rim with a silky spin layup off the glass, followed by a ridiculous reverse lay-in by our very own Marcos Knight. Now fast forward to the NIT in-state showdown with Tennessee. Massey was a monster, taking over late, scoring a career-high 20 points on the game, leading the 15-0 rally and taking charge and powering his way into the lane, adding a historic win to the already impressive season. Remember that time when senior Jimmy Oden connected with senior LaRon Dindy from half court, slamming it down en route to the opening NIT win over Marshall? And your number 1 play of the Blue Raider basketball season goes to, can I get a drum roll? Sean Jones, of all people, with the reverse left-handed jam, rounding out the top 5 plays of the historic MTSU basketball season. The Final Four has been set. After Thad Mato sized up his ball club mid-season, Jared Sullinger has returned his Buckeyes to the Final Four for the first time since 2007 when they lost to Florida in the title game. Speaking of the Florida Gators, after losing their lead to Louisville's late-game rally, Billy D has chalked up yet another loss in the right column to best friend Rick Pitino, making him 0-7 all-time. Outscoring Florida by 15 in the final 10 minutes, the 72-68 come-from-behind victory has earned the Cardinals yet another trip to New Orleans. Awaiting them in the Big Easy are heavy favorites and in-state rival, the Kentucky Wildcats, setting up another Bluegrass showdown. Kentucky could have cut down the nets at halftime after running right through the Bears. Their 82-70 win earns the Wildcats their second Final Four in as many years, in hopes of having SEC Player of the Year Anthony Davis in Kentucky's 14-year title drought. And last but not least, Rock Chalk Jayhawk, Bill Self leads Kansas back to the Final Four for the first time since 2008 when they took home the title. Ending his slump, Tyshawn Taylor's 22 points has led Kansas over North Carolina 80-67, setting up a heavy anticipated game with Ohio State. One thing is without question, though, New Orleans is certain for an extravagant amount of college hoops, starring an abundant amount of future NBA lottery picks.